Okay, I have two quick topics. One, I wanted to pick your brain about really fast before we get into the main topic. But first, I've been doing a little more online racing lately when I have a free evening, and it's fun. And I realized I need to put some sponsors on my cars. And one, I mean, we need sponsors for this show, which would be great. But I was also thinking maybe the show should be a sponsor. I could put sort of on brand's logo on the cars. Can
you customize graphics like that?
Right now, Liquid Death is my primary sponsor. But I think if I were to do a sort of on brand livery for one of my cars, what colors what should be the primary colors on the car?
Well, most of our logo is blue-ish. There's a couple different kind of a gradient in there.
So if we keep the color of the logo on the graphic, how do I?
It's got to be.
There's got to be some contrast.
Are you more of a light color scheme or a dark color scheme?
It depends on the car.
Because I think like a sleek, like dark, like black with like some matte gray, but mostly dark, but then blue, the sort of on brand blue accents. That's my style, but
okay,
I don't know how you roll.
I could get on board with that. All right, I might mess around with a couple and share them with you. Maybe
that's cool. I didn't realize you could like make up your. I'm sure they have like some in-game, real brands that have paid to be in the game, but you can just put up your own graphics. Huh?
Oh yeah. You can log into a website and upload the files, and then you can access them in game on the PlayStation.
Are you racing against real people online? So there you go. You're actually promoting.
I know.
This. Nice.
I suck, so that's it's not like I'm going to be winning any races anytime soon. But
as long as you do really good or really bad, it stands out and gets noticed, right? So you just can't be middle of the pack. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's funny.
It'll be fun. Okay. So here's the main topic. I really am fascinated. I am just fascinated by this Bud Light Dylan Mulvaney controversy situation, boycotts that are happening. It's just all like, I feel like it would be a disservice to our 2 viewers and 19 subscribers to not weigh in on it a little bit. So I thought we could do a little thought experiment. I want to imagine what those conversations at Bud Light were like when they were choosing to engage with Dylan Mulvaney. Like someone on the marketing team was like, we work with a lot of influencers. What if we work with her? And then what happens? I don't know. How did they come to this decision?
And I want to make sure I understand the full scope of like the engagement. Like, is Dylan Mulvaney like an official ambassador? Is it like a one-time run of cans for like a season thing, or is it like a long-term?
Okay,
I'm not sure I fully understand the scope of what the relationship is.
Let's do a quick recap. Last week, Dylan Mulvaney posted on Instagram a reel of her with some Bud Light cans with her face on it, and she was excited about partnering with Bud Light. And I think that was it. I don't even know if I've seen the full video.
It was kind of like during a March Madness thing too, right? That's when it kind of came out with
so.
like a
maybe
March Madness something.
Maybe towards the end of it.
I thought the commercial, at least the one I saw, was like talking about. Anyways, keep going.
Okay.
Something March Madness. Keep going.
So there was this. It was just a reel on Instagram with her with this can with her face on it, and then all hell broke loose, and the world started splitting into 2 camps of always and never, and questions around how Bud Light came to decide this came into question. Now, as far as I can tell, and from the research I've done, this engagement with Dylan Mulvaney was nothing more than a single set of commemorative cans for Dylan and maybe some of her followers. But it's not something that's ever going to be on shelves ever.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought it was I thought for a limited time that's what you got.
Yeah, well, with the amount of coverage and posts and stuff that it's garnished, you'd think that's what it is, but no.
Okay. And I don't drink beer, so I wouldn't know as much anyways. I kind of just assume.
Bud Light's okay.
Okay.
It's just okay. It's not great.
Okay. Not great.
Serviceable in a pinch.
So you can't. So no one can actually go get it. It just was given to some people.
Yes.
Huh. Well, that's even more interesting for. Okay, gotta think about that. I've seen people reacting to it who also seem to be under the impression that would be the case. That they would be, because I heard someone, I can't remember who it was. Who was? I gotta look it up. Somebody was talking about, some influencer, someone online was talking about how the problem they had with it was not like a political, I mean, maybe inherently without speaking, they had some inner problem with it, but it wasn't like a political, like a for or against. They just said, when I'm drinking a beer with my friends, I don't want to be holding something in my hand that could invite any controversy of any kind. I want to have a political discussion while I'm drinking my beer, and having that in my hand lends itself to some kind of, whether you love it, you hate it, I want to talk about that stuff when I'm drinking beer. And that was their problem with it. And so, but if no one's going to be holding in their hand drinking beer, then that person, who was talking about that? I need to go look it up. It was like a celebrity, someone well known. Anyways, and but they seem to be under the impression that also you'd have it at your party or whatever. And so if that's not the case,
well, I think now with the conservative boycott of Bud Lights, if you are seen drinking a Bud Light, now there's going to be,
like
at least in the short term anyway, there will be an implication that you are pro-trans rights, and which I'm pro-trans rights. I don't have any problem with that or whatever, but I could see why some people are like, don't put politics in my beer, but also we don't have to get into that. But anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so you start. I want to know what your thoughts are. I need to think about it a little bit.
So
what do you think happened?
I think it would have been something like, someone on the marketing team's like, we work with a lot of influencers. I think this one has an audience we haven't really hit yet. I think it would be great to work with someone in the trans community in order to promote Bud Light. And I know there's probably a faction of people in Bud Light that are doing it for what they feel is like good political reasons that you should be promoting these things. And, but I honestly, like the way every corporation posts something during Pride Month or whatever, like I kind of doubt there was much like goodwill thought there. There was a business decision to be made. And I'm curious, especially with how small the engagement was supposed to be, how much Bud Light actually like thought about the potential backlash. I mean, they had to have thought about it. It's cheap beer. Middle America is their like primary market, so they had to have had some conversations around like, what's this going to mean if we do it?
Yeah. Which that, again, I'm speaking a little bit not as familiar with who I assume to be the main market for Bud Light. You can tell me if I'm off or not. It's a well-known nationally, it's lots of different people who drink it, but generally if you were to make the main target market, it's probably not someone who's very active in the trans rights community or trying to resonate with that. So that because of that, I'm almost wondering if somebody internally did have a really personal drive to support or make that stand or whatever you want to call it, that gesture, because we've talked before, like what's a good move, bad move, when you should comment on something. We talked about social media and said when should you comment, when should you not, and how it's like there's like the best practice marketing answer, and then your personal conviction answer, and those aren't always the same thing. So I'm not saying you should only ever do something that's good for business if you think it's personally. You might have a personal drive that says, I don't care if it's good for business, I'm going to do this. I think this probably wasn't that good for business. But they had to have known that, I feel like. And so if they did it, it has to be a personal conviction thing. I don't know. Like, am I wrong? Do you think, again, I'm not saying it matters or that you care, but isn't it probably bad for business?
I think it depends. I think if Anheuser-Busch, the parent company, is wanting to move a certain direction and cultivate a certain audience, then maybe it was a long-term good move. Something else, I was actually talking to Emily about this. I was telling her what we were going to talk about. And came to the thought, like, well, so many beer drinking Americans, like, alcohol is kind of, sort of going out of vogue a little bit in younger generations. Like, it's not as popular as it was before, and that's probably a good thing. It's not great for you, though I still enjoy it. But I'm wondering if there's like a long-term business play here. The That's older true. White male conservative might not be a long-term business play, especially if a good, I don't know like the age demographics of people who drink Bud Light, but if a good percentage is like 50 plus, investing in a progressive younger generation is a great long-term play, because you're building a group of people who like your brand when they're younger, and they're going to keep using you longer.
I guess that's the thing to watch. If they back this up with some other, like, no, we're not scared of what happened. We know we got some people upset with us, but we're all in on this, and they do something else. Then that shows, one, to people who are like, well, are you just putting out the rainbow flag in June, like what you were saying, where it's like you're just doing a thoughtless gesture? Then it's like, oh no, they've doubled down on it. Maybe it's for real. And then those who have a problem with it, yeah, you might lose that audience, but then it might be that we're cultivating a whole new audience, a new market, which will be an uphill battle for anybody to do that in any industry. But like that would make more sense if they just do this and then crawl back to normal Bud Light and never do anything like that. Then I think it's weirder. Like, what were you expecting to happen? But yeah, what you're saying though is like, if that's the move, then yeah, they just gotta they gotta keep at it now and be consistent, and yeah.
It'll be interesting to see where this heads. Like, I don't think I found one statement from Bud Light since the controversy broke. It was this: Anheuser-Busch works with hundreds of influencers across our brands as one of many ways to authentically connect with audiences across various demographics. From time to time, we may produce unique commemorative cans for fans and for brand influencers like Dylan Mulvaney. This commemorative can was a gift to celebrate a personal milestone and is not for sale to the general public. And that's all they've said. And
yeah, I didn't know that.
And they've been silent on Twitter since April 1st. They haven't.
Really?
It's been crickets. So
since April Fool's Day.
So that makes me wonder if there was a little bit of, and maybe there is a little bit of hesitancy for what's going on.
Well, they have that decision to make now. I wonder if like the psychology of a face on a can is more than just you partnering with an influencer. They use the reference. We use lots of influencers. True, and I'm not saying this is good or bad again, but the difference is you don't put every influencer's face on your can. And so that doesn't mean it's a bad thing that you did that. It's all depending on what you want to have happen. But I think again, I'm not a beer drinker, so tell me if I'm missing something. I don't know of anybody else's face that's been on a can. Like, and so it just seemed more like an all-in going in on it, which again, if you're all for that, if you're all for that message and you don't have a problem with that community or anything like that, that's not a problem. If you do, it's more of a step in that direction than just partnering for a TikTok video, or like, and then you could see, yeah, we're reaching all audiences. That one seemed more like you're planting your flag on something, I think. So for better or for worse, I think that's part of it.
Yeah, I could see that a little bit, but beer manufacturers do special cans all the time. Like PBR, another cheap beer, updates their art on their can.
That's your brand, isn't it?
That is my brand. If I'm drinking cheap beer, I'm drinking PBR. They have like a fan art contest every year, and then that fan's art is on the can and the boxes for a set amount of time. And there's other instances of special cans and stuff, so it's not like that big of a deal. And this one's not even being sold to the public. So,
can I ask you a question that again, it's just me being naive to the alcohol industry, and I don't mean to be. If this question is insensitive, please forgive me because it's coming from a place of being naive. So maybe I'll get canceled. Is there an alcohol brand that's kind of associated with the LGBTQ plus community? Like, is there kind of something a brand that kind of already owns that space already, or is it pretty much just everyone drinks what they like?
Man, I am sure there are some like microbreweries and stuff that are active in their local communities and things. I've seen there's a Utah brewery that has like a rainbow unicorn can that I think they donate a portion of the proceeds to some activist group. So I think there's like smaller cases where that's happening, but I don't know of a national brand where that's like, this is the go-to brand for those folks. No.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Curious.
Yeah.
How do you think Dylan Mulvaney views the situation? Like, not what's happened since, but when approached and saying we're going to do this thing, and decide to share it online. What do you think the mindset there as far as is it a way to what's the word? Should the community feel differently about Bud Light, or is it they say this was just an influencer deal and there'll be someone else coming and it didn't mean anything as far as taking a stand or making a statement? Because it's like those who want it to be a statement will be disappointed if it wasn't a statement, and those who don't want it to be a statement are disappointed if it was a statement. That makes sense?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think coming from the liberal side of the political spectrum, I'd say in most cases, any representation is good representation, whether it's one time or not. So it's a way of normalizing and making people feel real.
It's including, yeah.
Yeah. So
gotcha.
That's my take on it. So I don't think there will be like backlash against Bud Light necessarily if they don't immediately partner with another trans activist, but maybe over the long term there will be some disillusionment if they like go 180 and their next Super Bowl ad is just strippers and cowboys.
Yeah. Or they put some super far right-wing person on the next one. That would be interesting, though. I'm not saying they should, though. It'd be interesting if they just, every so often release complete opposite ends of the spectrum commemorative, cans and just be like, you don't like that one? Maybe you like the next one.
I'm trying to imagine, Rudy Giuliani's face on a Bud Light can.
Beer can and doing a TikTok ad. Oh.
I'd want to see it with the hair dye running down his face.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. Plenty of news coverage though, plenty of links, plenty of it's a matter, do you think is all press good press? There's sometimes it seems like yes, sometimes it seems like no, but yeah, I've definitely heard a lot about it recently, so
yeah, it's interesting.
I would be curious. I would love to be a fly on the wall in those meetings and see how it did go down. Sorry, there's like a mosquito flying around here.
Speaking of flies on walls.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole thing is just fascinating to me. I'll be really interested to see if how Bud Light's sales do, how any Anheuser-Busch product does.
And how when people even know what brands are connected and they think they're boycotting one and drinking their other brand.
I know. And man, that company is so huge that like they might even own portions of other brands that you'd have to really dig to find it. So I don't know. I doubt if they lost some, I doubt it'll be long term. That's my guess. That maybe there's some short term losses, but I think a lot of it will rebound because there's other worse cheap beers.
It kind of happened with Nike. It wasn't the same exact thing. Like it wasn't about trans activists or anything, but with the Colin Kaepernick, and that was still kind of a politically charged thing, you know, like the kneeling for the flag and the racism and all that stuff. Anyways, and when they signed him on as like a big ambassador, whatever you want to call him, and did some campaigns with him, there's people that were like not be burning their Nikes and whatnot and stuff. And I think there were, for a short time, sales did, if I remember, dipped a little bit. I like maybe not the sales, but like the stock price dipped because of that. But then it recovered and went above where it was, and it's been like it hasn't been hurt in the long run. But there was just a slight little like, "Oop, what's going to happen?" But there, I don't know. People feel differently about that than this issue, but. Yeah,
I'm sure there's
I
some
would be surprised if things rebound.
Some lifelong boycotters, but I would imagine for the most part people just kind of shrug their shoulders and the news cycle moves on and people forget.
Yeah, and like you said before, it's definitely more. Not that everyone of the younger generation feels the exact same way, but it's definitely more catering towards your coming audience than your dying out audience.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Interesting topic.
Yeah.
Hot button topic. You picked a relevant one today.
I tried. Now I just got to edit it and get it published in time.
Yeah, that's true.
Today's sponsor is...
The day we post this, some big thing.
Say what?
No, I was just saying the day you post there's some big, huge update about this story that we're like missing and publishing late, but
probably.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I'll add.
Who's the sponsor?
Oh, our sponsor is PBR, Pabst Blue Ribbon. They just
can to hold up.
They just want. Yeah. I don't have one with me. I could go downstairs and grab one real quick. But they just wanted in on the conversation, so they reached out to us and when they heard what our topic was going to be. So, thanks PBR.
Nice.